Welcome back to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960, a Labor Day edition of my show. Had a really interesting conversation just now with Victoria Pelche. She is one of the people that delivers Accenture's consulting on transformation and leadership, and she's a well-known and very accomplished speaker in this regard. And we had an interesting conversation about this term "quiet quitting" that has become all the rage in the last couple of weeks, months, maybe. And it's sort of the term that has evolved from the Great Resignation. That was the term that, lots of us heard about, I guess, in the past year. And it's interesting because I think that what's happened is that a lot of people during the 2-year pandemic have had time. We talked about it being a forced time out. They've taken the time to reassess their lives, reassess their work lives, reassess the work-life balance. And a lot of people have found that working from home is attractive. Some people have found that they really miss the interaction with people. And as some of you know, I've been working on my doctorate in business, and I've been studying social capital and the positive impact, the incredibly positive impact that comes from interactions with other people, collaborations with other people, and that a good office environment can create those opportunities for collaboration. And we've lost some of that, if not, frankly, a lot of it in working at home and talking to people via Zoom or Teams or WebEx or Google Meets or whatever it is that's the different way that we've been able to interact with people. But there's something about the lack of bumping into people and the coffee room or the water cooler conversations, and or frankly just in meetings. I've noticed that when you have a real life meeting with someone, as you're sitting down and or getting up and leaving, you end up having a casual social conversation. When you're on a Zoom meeting and it starts exactly on the hour and ends exactly on the hour, that the social niceties, the catching up on what's happening in people's lives, knowing something more about them than just their work point of view, has been lost. So we've got these two very contradictory forces, and frankly, maybe even another one, which is probably best described by a New York Times article this past week called "The Office's Last Stand," which is talking about numerous different companies that are demanding people come back to work and come back to work full time. And if not full time, several days, because number one, it might be the positive benefit of collaboration and walking around and meeting people and bumping into people. But then also number two, it's that bosses, CEOs, et cetera, don't trust that people are actually being productive and working when they're not under their thumb, when they can't be seen in the cubicle or the office or whatnot. And so therefore they want them there. Probably described as Victoria described Jamie Dimon or other CEOs at Goldman Sachs and people like that, places like that, or even Elon Musk that have said, if you want to get paid, you got to work and you got to work in the office and you got to be seen. And then other companies that are saying you can work from wherever you want. You can remote work. You can, go to Morocco and get on your laptop and work from there. So you've got this one trend, which is people have worked from home and have found that it's productive and it's a better work-life balance. You've found some people that just hate the commute. I had a really unbelievably capable employee that I thought was someone that I was looking forward to working with long-term, that resigned because of the commute. No other reason, just because of the long commute. And then actually called back saying that he wanted to come back after a new job didn't turn out as positive, I guess, as it originally thought it was, even though it had a very short commute. But people are frustrated with the commute, and ridership on transit is still down, which suggests that it's not only the commute, but it's commuting in close proximity to other people that might be an issue. And I think that's gone away, or is in the process going away, as we learn how to deal with and live with COVID as it's become an endemic rather than a pandemic. But then you also have this creativity, collaboration that we have lost to a certain extent. And and then bosses that just want to see you in the office. And so this great resignation, this quiet quitting, this desire to work to live rather than live to work, that seems to have come about even more so in the last couple of years than previously. It's a really interesting trend. And I think that it's going to continue. And some people say that it is because of low unemployment, and so therefore people have got lots of options. People have said that it's because of the young people that are entering the workforce that have a different attitude toward life and work, and want to work to live rather than live to work, which is what probably my generation was more inclined to do. And I think it's also sort of the self-awareness, self-actualization movement that, whether it be The Secret or Manifesting My Future, or, all these different self-help people that have been talking about this, it really seems to be a trend that is occurring. And I want to really focus on this, particularly given that it's Labor Day, and that we had this interesting conversation with Victoria Pelche about quiet quitting, which I think is a really inappropriate description of what's happening, because I don't think it's people quitting, and they're not quitting quietly. But I do think what it is it's and it's not the Great Resignation either. What it is people wanting to have more meaning. There's this great book that I haven't read, but I read a synopsis of, about the leader of Zappos that wanted to make his employees happy, and it talked about that he actually had the wrong objective. People don't necessarily want to be happy. What they want in life is meaning, and meaning makes them happy. But just being happy, you just go out and party, and get drunk, or take drugs, and then you're happy for a short period of time, but you're not necessarily happy in the long term. But doing something that is of meaning, I think, gives you happiness long term. People want to work for companies that have a social conscience, yes, but have a purpose, and a purpose that is to do something of value to society. I used to work in the pharmaceutical business, and I really loved the fact that we were working on products that help people's lives, that made their health better, that made their life longer, that made their life better to live. It was very rewarding working on products that did that. I'm now in the real estate development business, and giving people a place to live, and an affordable place to live, and a place to live that you can be proud of, is rewarding. I used to work in the beer business, and we made great quality, high quality beer that people enjoyed, but it didn't have that sort of social connection, that social purpose that the two industries that I've just described had. I think people are looking for that in life. Clearly, they're looking for that in their own personal life, but I think they're looking for that in their corporate life. We talked about toxic work environments with Victoria, and lots of us probably know, people that have been, described in a very negative term, bosses, that have led to toxic work environments. I know I've certainly had my experience with some of those in the past. People are a lot less willing to put up with that. I was out with someone the other day that talked about there being a premium that you had to pay in a salary if you had to deal with that kind of a blank boss. And some people were willing to do it, but they had to get that premium to do that. Otherwise, turnover is way too high. And the cost of turnover, I don't think people realize to the extent that it negatively impacts a company, because you got to train people all over again. You got to give them institutional knowledge. You can never have all the institutional knowledge, and so therefore people don't know what happened in the past. And I think turnover is less understood, and the cost of it is less appreciated by some people than needs to be. And so therefore, toxic work environments that force people to leave and quit really aren't understood as well as they need to be understood by some of those bosses that create those toxic work environments. But I think I come back to this great resignation, or this quiet quitting, is because people really want purpose in their life, and they want purpose in their companies. They want something that has meaning, and they don't want to just work. They don't want to just slave away. And so I guess while I focused on sort of the personal achievement that people were looking for in my conversation earlier in the show with Victoria, I want to end with this idea of purpose, that people really need to have meaning in their jobs, meaning in the companies that they work for, to understand the purpose, and that social purpose or that beneficial purpose or that incredibly good product that benefits someone has for the company, whether that be the company vision or the company purpose or its environment, social governance kind of ESG statement. But people want today more meaning, more purpose in their companies and in their jobs. Otherwise, they will quietly quit or resign, move on, and create turnover that's a real cost. And so I think that on this Labor Day, we should be thinking about the importance of giving our employees, our laborers, our people purpose, meaning. I think it's important for companies, and I think it's important for people. I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to conclude with some thoughts on personal purpose. Thanks for joining me. Happy Labor Day.